just wanted to quick show you how to create a map or explain my sample map anyway for your text adventure. So what you do is this is my map. This is very crude obviously, but you just want to create the rooms, even though they're not necessarily rooms, um, for what you're going to have the player move around in. Now I imagine room number one is my starting location. So this is supposed to be an island, right? And this is all water. You can make this map fancy or you can make it crude. Either way's fine. But you can quickly see the spots that I've planned out for the users to be able to get to. I've planned out 7 so far. And I've also planned out the directions that they would go to in order to get to each one, right? So they could head north out of the beach onto the jungle path. From there, they could get to a clearing. From there, they could get to a rocky shore or the abandoned plain, and so on and so forth. Actually, I was just thinking I meant to add a connection there, right? So maybe from the beach they can go both east and north. And even though this isn't, perfectly east, it's good enough. Like this one, I could say that when I get to here and it's like, where do you want to go? Maybe it's, head northeast, or maybe I just say east, and it's good enough to get the idea across. Um, and then this part here I want to explain because sometimes people think about having a long hallway or a how do I want to say it? But just like a big area with little areas within it, and that's fine too. You just have to think about how they would do that. Um, for instance, well, this isn't the greatest example, but if I said mysterious old airport, and then within that, I think, oh, that's one room, and then within that room, there'd be two other rooms. It's easier to think of them as just individual places, and that they can move from one to the other. You have to be careful about making a room where you could go north, for instance, two different places. Like, well, from the plane, they could move north into this, or they could move north into that. You don't really want to do that. You want to make it so that they can only go north, would be one spot. Otherwise, you'd have to change, your thinking and say, would you like to go to the door um, marked door 1 to the north or the door marked door 2 to the north? But that can get complicated depending on what you're thinking your player is going to type in. I like the idea of the player just typing north. You could also think a little bit more three-dimensionally, and you could think, well, maybe sometimes they could go up. So if there was a box over here that maybe in the jungle path there would be a tree. And so then I can just add a tree. And then, like, to get to the tree, they go up in the tree, right? So you could do things like that as well. Don't You don't have to limit it to north, south, east, and west. You can definitely go as much as you want. You could even say straight, left, right, however you want to do it. Um, Most text adventures I've played use the directions and let it go from there, but that's not to say, but plenty of them do have up and downs as well. But that's not to say that's the only way to do it. So you can be creative for sure. Hopefully that gives you some ideas of how to do this. You can hand draw this and take a picture of it, or you can do it in Google or some other way that you can think of to do it. But you just want to have the map, because having the map means you have a plan when you go to create your game, which is a key step in doing this. Have fun.